For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of review on a updated model in Vango's Driveaway awning collection. So with me here today I've got the Vango Faros 2 Air Low. So the Vango Faros is kind of a model that's been in Vango's collection for a number of years now, and it's one thing it's probably has always been very good at doing is basically hitting good price points, give you a good amount of awning and keeping a good quality. So what Vango have kind of done with sort of the 24 season going forward is they've actually up-spec the fabric and added a couple of more features onto it as well. So what was a very well price pointed awning is actually now even more probably better value for the money. So in this video we'll kind of go through all the little features that we have kind of known and loved with the Faros and some of the new things they've added to it for this current season. So in the headline news, the main difference is that we're now moving to 150 denier material. So it's a thicker fabric, so it's not the not basic, but the starting point sort of 75D that we've seen before. And the other thing as well with fabric, not only is it thicker, so it's going to last a bit longer and be a bit more durable, is they've actually put in their kind of Color Lock 2 technology into it. So it essentially means it's a solution dye fabric. For the not layman's terms, but the basic means that what they do is actually dye the thread before it's woven into the material rather than dyeing the material itself. The benefit of this really is down to colour retention, so it basically looks sharper for longer and generally get a bit more even kind of colour torsion throughout it. So for the main difference I can probably sort of give you as an idea is the difference between, say, a carrot and a radish. Radish in a way that you have the colour on the outside, you cut through it, and then you have that pure white on the inside. So that would be kind of the old method of how they would actually make it. With the carrot scenario, as we have here, you cut it, colour all the way through. So what you have when the UV light comes out, starts stripping the outer layer, you have that same colour all the way through. So again, it makes the product look sharper for longer. Other things to sort of bear in mind as well is that it's quite a nice small awning. It's one of probably Vango's smallest awnings they do, certainly when it comes to kind of in air. It attaches onto the vehicle really quite nicely and sits quite sharp. One thing you can bear in mind is that you've got nice big PVC windows to get plenty of light in, but then you've got toggle up curtains to get that sort of privacy as and when you need it. For a new thing as well, we've got this low level ventilation point, which is really quite nice. So what kind of Vango have been really keen to do is up-spec it, but try not to increase the price point too heavily in comparison to how it was in the marketplace. But that little vent is brilliant because you can open and close it from the inside, so you can alter your ventilation points, but it's a much bigger vent, gives airflow in, it's going to help sort of fight off the condensation, which inevitably you will get. The tunnel section, as you can see here, available in kind of a low size, so it's from a 180 to 210, and they've worked really hard actually on the tunnel section trying to get it look sharper at the most kind of where it mostly fits, about 185, 190 for those kind of VW kind of vans. So that's something they've been working on quite well. They've got the sort of easy sort of pegging point system, so where we can see color coordinated webbing straps on the main corners where you kind of peg it, so it makes it clear where you start when you come to pitch it, which helps a little bit. And then from a pitching point of view, it's very quick, easy to do. I've done this model on my own in about sort of 8 minutes, and you check out our little pitching packing video that we've done via the link below as well, so that'll show you in the flesh how much it takes to do. We've got the ability of a webbing strap here for its adjustment, so obviously that helps to adjust the height. On the tunnel section, so that's your main body there, on the tunnel section to the van, you've got doors on either side, so it doesn't matter if you want to come from the front or the back of the vehicle, you can still get into the vehicle without having to go through the awning every single time. 2 inflation points located there, so it helps to obviously very easy to pitch. You get a manual stirrup pump supplied as standard, and it uses Vango's airspeed valve, so it's quite an easy valve to lock on and lock off. It has like a bayonet fitting, so it's not going to pop off mid pumping up. We've got obviously a window on the left hand side, and I'll bring the camera in just a second. We've got a drop down door at the front, so it lips down and then basically toggles up, and then the main door overlaps it to try and get that seal. So again, there's no physical zip on there, but it gives you a fairly decent seal anyway. And then if we drop the main front window down, slash door, what we have is 2 parts. If I actually take it. So you've got the normal front door which sits down there, a really nice big window in there as well, and you've got a privacy curtain as with any of the windows inside. But more importantly, what you have got is, there you go, your mesh door. So you've got your main bug barrier, which is there. So for an airflow into the awning where having sort of the bugs come in, that works really quite nicely as well. And again, it's kind of quite a fine mesh. So even for midges, you should be okay. But it just gives a bit more of an airflow without having to worry about leaving the door fully open, especially at night when you've got a light on. That's the last thing you want to do when you're in the van as well. The door can also double up as you can buy some additional king poles. There's eyelets located in the corner, so by that gives you the ability of almost giving a little bit of a mini canopy and extending it a little bit as well. If the door's shut, you've still got a ventilation point located at the top here as well to help with airflow. So again, it's to help sort of fight off that condensation, twinned with the previously mentioned low level ventilation point. You get additional fiberglass pole located in the roof section as well. So that helps to keep the roof nice and taut. Just put that away. And then you kind of, get that in, you kind of flex it in. And we'll look at that in a second with the camera. One thing I do like as well is you've got a mesh door on the opposite side as well. So you've got a front door, side door, and obviously the doors on the tunnel section as well. So you can get into the awning aptly, and if the weather or wind does change, you can kind of be a bit more versatile than always having it sort of straight on. In fact, let's bring the camera around actually, let's have a look. That's a bit better, there we go. So it's about a 3 meters 10 width, so there's a good sort of width you have in here as well. Currently I've got the back door fully open. This is kind of where your van's going to be. But you've got the door open and closes. So this part you can actually have halfway. Now the reason they kind of do this is because it sort of imitates what your sliding door is going to do. So what you find is, by having that like so, when you have your sliding door, which opens up, it kind of mirrors it. So it creates you a bit more dead spot between the van and the awning. So again, that's quite a nice little feature. And when you don't want to, obviously when you leave it to drive away, you seal it up all the way, and it not only seals up along the back, but also zips along the bottom, so you get a proper nice feel, a thorough kind of feel for it as well. But let's actually bring the camera and have a look at this ground sheet down the bottom here. So technically it's a sewn in ground sheet, so it's nice and linked. So you can't obviously remove it. That's why I would recommend the footprint, just because it keeps a bit more of a protection if you're on hard or stony ground. So you can see it's sewn in around the bottom, but then you have a drop down door here, so you can probably just about see that. So that way, that's going to be your kind of your trip-free access into the awning. On the side door, you've also got a big mesh panel as well. So not only have you got a mesh on the side, on the front, and on the bottom, so you've got multiple areas to kind of get airflow throughout it. And I really quite like the colour scheme and how kind of that side part kind of goes up. You see how it sort of slopes up. I think that detailing of the orange, I think, blends in nicely with the pegging points and the guy ropes to make it look really quite smart. And then you've got the doors, so you can access obviously the vehicle without having to go through the main body of it. So again, that works well. And then you've got your different attachment methods. So you can either have thrower straps to go over the top of the vehicle, you can have a beading which will go straight into a rail, or you can buy a fixing kit to go into a winder awning. There's also a sleeve located there, so you can actually put that in a pole and clamp kit. And finally there's some Velcro tabs which you can allow you to do, come around this way, there we go, Velcro tabs, so you can actually put that onto roof bars. So you've got a few different options, so when you're actually inside the van, you're going to kind of get something like this scenario with that door ability to open up, and you've got webbing straps located here to get attention, so if you are on the lower end of the fitment, you can still gather that fabric up so it's not going to look too messy. But I think, yeah, in terms of additions, you've also got lovely big windows as well. And what you find is that there are toggle up curtains for any kind of window section. So as we kind of look right through here, the windows can toggle up either halfway or fully up top to get the proper coverage. So you can leave equipment in here and rest assured, and obviously with the mesh window on that side, you still zip it up. So you have ultimate privacy when you leave your site, and you obviously leave it as a sort of a freestanding awning. So again, that's a quite a nice little option. But I said the Faros has been probably for the last, I want to say 6 years, it's probably one of Vango's biggest selling models, along with the Cove, just because it's well price pointed, big without being too big, packs down nice and small. I mean, it weighs less than about 11 kilograms, and the pack size and weight is always consideration when you've got a small little van. And certainly in terms of the fitment height, it works quite nicely. I find generally in terms of the way it performs in the rain, having this kind of design works a bit better because you've got a high point in the middle and allows the rain to sort of channel off it. So all around it works really nicely. One other feature to mention is that it also has Vango's TBS system, which stands for tension band. Possibility of extra webbing straps to go up to the centre, so when you leave the awning on its own, it creates a triangle position. So when you have wind coming from one side, this point here braces it and keeps it nicely in shape. And something you wouldn't have when you utilise the awning itself. It's something you'd probably just put in afterwards. And you've got a hanging point for a lantern located at the front here as well. And then, as I said, the poles actually velcros in. So you put in a top little pole section here and velcros in just to keep that roof looking really nice and taut. It's mainly probably more for when you drive away, just because then it gives a bit more torsion in the roof section and it's not relying on tension from the van. So yeah, that works really quite nicely. But for more information, by all means, check the link below this video. We've got more information on things like pack sizes, floor dimensions, overall weights, individual features are listed out, as well as our pitching and packing video, which you can check out as well. So if you have any questions, queries, concerns, feel free to comment in the box below. It's always good to hear from you on what you think, whether you like it, whether you like the addition of the new colour, the specification change with that 150D, 4000mm high shellac head fabric. So yeah, feedback is always good feedback, be it, say, bad or good. But really, that's kind of our little video review on the brand new updated Vango Faros